Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into something pretty big for developers. OpenAI's Codex. It's this new cloud-based AI coding agent.
Yeah, it's definitely causing a stir. And it's more than just, fancy autocomplete. Think of it more like an AI coding partner.
An AI partner. Okay, tell me more. What makes Codex different from the tools we already use?
Well, it can actually write whole features for you or answer questions about your code base, fix bugs. It even proposes pull requests.
Pull requests. Seriously?
Seriously. But the really unique part, it can work on several tasks at the same time. Each one gets its own isolated environment up in the cloud, loaded with your project's code.
Okay, multiple tasks in parallel. That sounds incredibly efficient. How do you actually interact with it? How do you tell it what to do?
It's pretty straightforward, actually. You use the ChatGPT interface, which most people know. You type a prompt, then you'd either click code to give it a task or ask if you just want information about the code.
Right, code or ask. Simple enough. So you give it the prompt.
Yeah.
Then what happens? What's going on under the hood?
Okay, so Codex takes your task and spins up this secure, separate environment in the cloud. It loads your repository into it.
Snapshot of the code.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it can read files, edit them, run commands, things like tests, linters, type checkers. It needs to check its own work.
How long does this usually take?
Depends on the task, of course. Could be a minute, could be half an hour, somewhere in that range, typically. And you can see what it's doing in real time.
Watching its progress.
Huh.
Okay. But how do you know you can trust what it did, especially with complex code?
That's a fair question. Transparency is key, right? A Codex actually gives you evidence. It shows you terminal logs, test results. You can trace back the steps it took.
Ah, verifiable evidence. That makes a difference. I like that.
It builds trust, definitely. You're not just getting a black box output.
Let's talk about the AI model itself. Codex 1, right? What's special about it?
Yeah, Codex 1, it's a version of OpenAI's O3 model, but they've really optimized it for software engineering. They use reinforcement learning, training it on tons of real-world coding situations.
And what did that training achieve? What can it do because of that?
Well, a few cool things. It learned to mimic human coding styles, even down to how developers tend to write pull requests. It's also really good at sticking to instructions precisely.
And you mentioned testing.
Right. It can run tests over and over again until they actually pass. It iterates. And apparently, it performs well on benchmarks even without lots of special setup.
So this isn't just a research project. Are companies actually, using this now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Early adopters are finding lots of uses. OpenAI itself uses it for the repetitive stuff, refactoring, writing basic tests, things that can break your focus.
Makes sense. Anyone else?
Cisco's looking at it to speed up bigger ideas. Temporal is using it across the board features, debugging, tests, even large refactors.
Wow, quite a range.
And Superhuman is interesting. They're letting product managers use it for small code tweaks, freeing up engineers. Kodiak, working on self-driving tech, uses it for debugging tools and improving test coverage.
That's diverse. Okay, the inevitable security question. Cloud, AI, code. How is it kept safe?
Very carefully. It runs in that secure, isolated container we mentioned. Crucially, internet access is disabled while it's working on a task.
Ah, okay. So it can only interact with the code you give it.
Pretty much. Just the code from your GitHub repo and any pre-installed dependencies. They've also trained it to spot and refuse malicious requests, like asking it to build malware while still doing legitimate tasks.
A fine line to walk, I imagine.
For sure. They mentioned enhanced policies and safety evaluations to keep that balance right.
So looking bigger picture, what does this signal for the future of development? It feels like more than just another tool.
It really does feel like a shift. We've gotten used to real-time AI pairing, right? Like Copilot. But Codex introduces this asynchronous multi-agent idea. OpenAI thinks that might become the standard way to produce quality code.
Delegating bigger tasks, not just getting suggestions line by line.
Exactly. They see these two modes, real-time help and task delegation, eventually merging. You'd collaborate with AI across all your tools, asking questions, getting suggestions, offloading bigger jobs, all seamlessly.
There was that quote from Mitch Ashley.
Right, from the Futurum Group. He called it the next phase. Agentic AI agents. His point was that coding itself is just part of software creation. These agents could shift engineers towards higher-level work design, orchestration, communication.
More strategy, less typing.
Sort of, yeah. We should expect Codex to get more interactive, maybe letting you guide it mid-task. It's still early days, but the potential productivity boost, especially for smaller teams or individuals, Seems huge.
It's definitely a fascinating development. Really makes you wonder how the day-to-day job of a software engineer is going to change in the next few years. What skills become more important? What becomes less so? Lots to think about. Thanks for walking us through Codex today.
Absolutely. Exciting times ahead.